travelers, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Shayna, and on this channel I share my knowledge I've obtained as well as my experiences to help you along your spiritual path as I continue to grow on mine. Okay, so today we are going to talk about synchronicities. What is a synchronicity? It's basically a string of events or signs, okay, that are comparable to like a crumb trail. Some might even call it a meaningful coincidence. But unlike a normal coincidence, synchronicities have a special meaning to the person that's experiencing it, okay? And the important thing to know about synchronicities is that they're events that are all related, but they have no apparent cause to each other, okay? It's a way of our higher self, a universe manifesting messages and guidance into our physical world here. So it's kind of like a dance between the two. Okay, because when we come into this world, our soul has a mission, and as we grow up and to adults and children and adults, we start to forget that mission and that purpose. And so these are like well placed, well orchestrated events that happen so that we can remember and get on that path. One example of a synchronicity would be that you think of a friend and then they call you or they text you shortly after. Now, we've all had this happen. Now, the thing about synchronicities is they're not usually just like a one-off event. They typically are a string of events that kind of keep going. But sometimes it can be smaller. Sometimes they can be more elaborate. So anyway, you get on the phone with this friend, and they proceed to tell you about a job opening they heard about, and it suits the exact job that you've been looking for or that you've been dreaming about. Okay, so this is a more simple synchronicity. It's important to remember, though, that it's not the same as confirmation bias. Now, what is confirmation bias? Confirmation bias is like, a woman thinking about wanting to get pregnant. Just constantly has baby fever, thinking about getting pregnant. And so what does she notice everywhere she goes? Babies and pregnant women, okay? That's not what synchronicities is. Synchronicities are something that happens like when you're not expecting it, when you're not focused on it, not even thinking about it, typically. So that's how you tell the difference. Okay, there's different reasons for synchronicities. As I said before, they can be a guide to lead you on your soul's purpose. They often work like a guide, kind of like an internal GPS. But they can be to get you on track. They could be to pull you away from something, and sometimes they're simply to get your attention to let you know you're in tune. So that would be more like a confirmation type of synchronicity. Sometimes it's a message from the universe that you need to pay special attention to certain things. And as always, I'm looking down at my notes, guys, to make sure I cover everything I want to say. But they do appear in many different forms. So they can be anything from number synchronicities to songs, phrases, names. Most of my synchronicities I tend to experience through numbers. But like I said, I have had synchronicities occur through song, and sometimes it's not always the exact same form for the same message. It might be different forms for the same message. Okay. But what's important about it is that once we recognize these synchronicities, that we kind of follow those breadcrumbs, okay? Because it's going to take us from one step to the next and the next, and we can get where we're going in our path, okay? So now I'm going to share a few of my own experiences so that you kind of get like a better picture of what I'm talking about, okay? So, a couple days ago, I published a YouTube video on numerology, and the length of the video was 27 minutes and 27 seconds. Now, not only is 27 the date of my birthday, but if you watch my numerology video, then you know that 27 and 27 breaks down to 9 and 9. Now, if you haven't seen that video, you may want to go check that out, and I will leave the link to that video in the description box below, because especially for those of you who are experiencing number synchronicities, it might help you try to figure out what they're saying to you a little bit better. So anyway, the next day I sent the link to this video to my mom, and the timestamp on the text message was 3:33. So again, the number 9 adds up to the number 9. Okay, later that night I go to Sheetz to get some gas, y'all. And I pull up to the pump, and the nozzle was covered up. So that one was out of order. So I pull up to another gas pump. I get out. I look up, and you can guess the pump was number 9. So at this point, I'm like, okay, the universe is trying to tell me something. What's going on here? Now, again, if you've watched that numerology video, then you know that the number 9 has the energy of completion, or signals the end of a cycle, right? So I picked up on the message that the universe is trying to tell me that something or some cycle in my life has come to an end, and it is time to start the next cycle in my life. Okay, so I go home and I decided to do a tarot card reading, and my question is, well, you know, if I've reached a phase of completion, then what is the next phase in my life? And it was an extensive reading, and it had many cards and messages. One of those messages was, in the near future, you will have the opportunity to collaborate with someone on a creative project, okay? The next day, I received a message in my inbox on Facebook from a videographer who I've worked with in the past, making some dance videos that you can see on my other YouTube channel. And he basically wanted to get together to make a music video that conveys the message that we're all one, and basically inspire healing to the people of America, of this country, especially being with the divide that's been amongst us, especially in the last year with the political matters and the pandemic going on. Okay, and it was kind of surprising hearing this from him, because this is not usually his realm of work. He makes entertainment videos, but he wanted to do something inspirational. But also in my reading, I received a message that I've reached a milestone and to keep going on my current path. As you all know, I've barely started this channel in the last couple of weeks, because it's been very recent that I've become clear on my life's purpose. I don't have it perfectly figured out, but I have a really good idea. Okay. And then, so that was yesterday, and then today, when I cut on my music list, I always just cut it on Spotify, and I hit shuffle, and just let it play whatever. Guess what the first song I heard was, guys? It was that song, I'm Feeling Good, originally done by Nina Simone, but this was the Michael Bublé version. But if you don't know that song, some of the words are, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good, right? I ain't about to sing for y'all. I'll sing a little bit, but we're not doing that today. I don't feel like I'm all that great to be doing that. Anyway, another experience I had is that I was watching TV the other night, okay? And for the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of struggling and feeling like, oh my God, I feel like I'm struggling with getting addicted to watching TV, okay? Because I have so much going on in my head, and sometimes the synchronicities especially, but just being in touch with spirit can get a little bit overwhelming, because you're just receiving a lot of information. So I feel like I was trying to detach from everything by watching TV, because I don't watch TV that much. So it really caught my attention, hey, I'm watching a lot of TV. And I was watching a movie, and I was really enjoying it. And then the next thing you know, I had recorded it on my DVR. Next thing you know, halfway through, it gets cut off by another program. Somehow it cut it in half and recorded another program. And I was so furious. So then I found something else to watch. I ended up watching Diary of a Mad Black Woman by Tyler Perry. Now, I haven't watched that movie in a long time, so I remember it, but, I really wasn't thinking of it or recalling the events that happened. Now, in the video, in that movie, y'all know if you've seen it, there's a character named Deborah, and Deborah is a struggling drug addict. She's struggling and fighting addiction, and she's basically, they show a scene with her daughter, and it indicates that she wants to get clean for her family, but she's just having like a hard time, and she kind of just like hates herself for her addiction. And I, as an ex-drug addict, I definitely resonate with that. Now, the last time I watched this movie was years ago, and I didn't really resonate with that character because I hadn't been through that. But at this particular time, after overcoming drug addiction and starting my spiritual journey after that, I really was resonating with her, and the more that they showed her in the movie, the more I was resonating with her, especially being that I was just, kind of beating myself up about having addiction to feeling like I'm forming an addiction to TV. And so then the scene comes up where she goes to rehab, and then she shows up at the end at church, and she comes in singing and blows everybody's mind. She's found her faith again, and it's helped her get through the addiction, and she's coming out shining brand new, and like everyone's surprised, and they're like all really happy or whatever. So that scene, like, y'all, I was crying, and I rewound it and just cried with it again, and so I see this as a synchronicity because this was my higher self basically organizing for me to watch this show, because I never would have watched it if my other show hadn't got cut off, right? To kind of put me back on track and pull me out of that mindset of trying to escape. Okay, and the next day I started working on my numerology video, and I got so into it that I didn't even turn the TV on once, and not once, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And the next day I went to visit my mom, and I didn't watch TV at all that day either. So today I did watch maybe like an hour of TV, but like I was like, okay, time to cut it off and get to doing this video. So that was a synchronicity that kind of got me back in balance, put me back on track. Another less elaborate one that I had not too long ago. So it was like a few months probably after I had gotten out of jail, and I was on my spiritual path, and there was this song. It was a gospel song that I used to listen to. Me and my stepmother used to listen to it together back in the day, years and years ago when I was a Christian. And let me just say this, guys, when you're walking the spiritual path, you might be feeling like confused and stuff, because I went through it a lot, a lot. I went through like struggling like what to believe, and trying to find that middle path. But there's just spirituality to be found in everything and everywhere, no matter what you believe. So I do still enjoy some gospel music, because at the core of it, music speaks to our soul. Doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. But anyway, I had been trying to think of this song, and I couldn't remember any of the words. I could not remember the tune, anything, guys. But I knew that if I heard the song, that I would know it, and y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, isn't that amazing that we can remember that we forgot something, but we can't remember what it is. So, this song had just been evading me for months, y'all. And one day, I was at my stepmom's house, and she goes, "Shayna, do you remember this gospel song?" And before it was out of her mouth, like, I knew what she was going to say. Well, I didn't know the name of the song, so I can call it, but I knew she was going to say it was that one. And she did, y'all. I was jumping up and down. Do you hear me? But yeah. So that was another, like, a smaller one, but that one, but it's like more simple, but it was really huge for me, y'all. Like, I just couldn't believe it after out of all the songs in the world, because we used to listen to a lot of gospel songs, that she would come up with that one. All right. Also, like, for these last few months, as I told you, number synchronicity is a big thing for me in my personal life. I had just been seeing the twos everywhere. Two. Now, I already knew that the number 2 is my life path number. But the thing is while I was seeing all these twos, I had just been struggling, like, what is my purpose? Like, what is my purpose? Like, I was trying photography, I tried to dance, all these things. Like, I like dancing, so I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? I was just kind of going through a period of just sitting down, sitting still, and not and feeling like I was stuck. So I had been seeing twos and twos everywhere. And also, I had did a tarot reading during this time, and Spirit had said, you need to sit down and you need to wait for, your purpose to be revealed to you. So I accepted that, and I continued to see the two. And then one day, I can't remember what it was that made me go back and look at my life path number, but I did, and I went back and I read it again. And at this point, it really became clear what my purpose really is, and that's about the time I decided to start doing these videos for y'all. So that's where that led to. So the important thing to remember about synchronicity, it's all very individual to the person, right? And I gave you a few of my experiences, and I have many more, but I didn't want to make this video too long. But hopefully through sharing the information and through my experiences, that you guys kind of get what this means. And if you have experienced any synchronicities of your own, even if you just realized that's what was going on, please leave them in the comments. I would love to read y'all's stories. I'd love to share. I'd love to hear people's stories. So as always, I'm going to leave my email in the link below, or in the description box below, so that you can email me with any questions. Feel free to leave questions in the comments. Also, if you would like a free tarot card reading, please email me for that. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you haven't seen my numerology video, I will leave the link in the description box below for that. And that's just going to tell you all about the energies of different numbers, so that if you are experiencing synchronicity with numbers, that you can decipher them. Okay? But just, it's just, synchronicity is just a very important tool for us to use and really pay attention to. Alright, so that's all I have for you guys today, and I'll see you at the next stop. Bye, travelers.